All right, so what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, man. It's your boy, and the August update is here, bringing us 3 new uniforms, 2 new tier 4s, and a brand new character. So let's jump into it and see exactly what these characters are going to be doing for us this time around. First and foremost, we got the Black Knight coming in as a combat superhero. He's only rocking one ability tag, which is Weapon Master, so it's not going to be that useful for World Boss. However, it seems like he's more of a PvP leaning character, and this is actually very, very interesting. Honestly, he's going to be a really good support, which is kind of not what I was expecting. Especially when I saw that he was only gonna get a tier 3 and not a tier 4, or at least upon release. Maybe mid-month they'll do a tier 4 for him, but we'll have to wait and see. We're starting off with Juggernaut as the combat tier 4 this time around. However, his leadership, not that great. His passives, however, pretty solid. We got super armor, we got all basic defense, that's 30%, skill damage, bonus damage. His own damage reduction is pretty good. And the big one, 40% extra HP, decreasing reflect damage by 50%, and that's all reflect. This right here is basically what we get from America Chavez. So that's actually kind of cool. Giving us more characters that can protect us from reflect is good, especially since we just got an upgrade for upgrade and a new character that is reflect based in a Shadow Ball, and the upgrade going to Emma Frost. Granted, they're still probably gonna crush him because they have tier 4s and one is a universal and one is blast, but this is still really good. More characters to give you protection against reflect is not a bad deal. So at the very least, he's gonna be decent for AC. Not too sure about TBA, but you know what, he might be good for TBA as well, just because of the 40% extra HP. So that's actually pretty good. They're gonna give him away from, what you call it, the Savage Avengers event quests, and more than likely they're gonna do like a, what do you call it, timeline quest as well for him. Or maybe the timeline quest is the Savage Avengers quest, but it could also be like a token event. This is not going to be dropping with the update. This is going to be dropping a week after the update, so keep that in mind. Let's see what else we got in this kit here. So first skill, not that useful. Second skill, nothing, but we do have iframe ignore and counter attack, and that's pretty cool. This skill has immunity and accumulation. However, it does not have penetration, and that kind of sucks. And he actually doesn't have penetration anywhere in his kit. I hate when they do this. So when they give you characters who don't have penetration but they give you iframe ignore, or when they give you penetration and don't give you iframe ignore, it's kind of really annoying, but it is what it is at this point. Let's jump into it. The first one, the big one, the one that most people are probably gonna pick up, the new gladiator armor for Ghost Rider. Okay, so let's see how this compares to the old one, because keep in mind, the old uniform for Ghost Rider, this one right here, is 1750 and it never gets discounted. This one is 1050, right? And it can go as low as, what is it, like 875 when the 50% discount is in effect. So let's see how it compares to Rage Returns. Okay, so first and foremost, this one has 10% chain hit damage, and this one right here, as you can see, has super armor and all basic defense. So a new line right there to make him a little bit tankier. Now moving on to his tier 2 passive, this is staying exactly the same, all of the stats exactly the same. And then the 4-star passive, let me just double check, that's 90 and 30, that's also exactly the same. We got the first skill, nothing crazy. Second skill, nothing crazy. Third skill, nothing crazy. We still have iframe ignore. I don't like that they removed his V-pad, because the V-pad was really good for, well, the V-pad itself is a very good concept for World Boss Legend Plus to move around, to either catch the light against Black Dwarf Ebony Maw, to move you out of the way of incoming attacks, because some attacks still hit you if you're in iframe. Even if you have penetration, they still hit you and do damage to you. So it's kind of shitty that even though the V-pad was not that great, that they just removed it altogether and then just improve upon it and give us a better V-pad. Now, if you look closely at the old forward skill for Ghost Rider, you will see that he has a line here that gives him super armor and 40% all basic defense. This is the line that they removed and added to the uniform bonus, so it's there all the time, as opposed to only being there for 6 seconds every time he uses the forward skill. In typical Future Fight fashion, right, they just like to move buffs around. Now, it's better in the sense that at least it's there all the time, as opposed to only being there for 6 seconds. So yeah, at first I thought it was actually a brand new buff that was going to be added on top of all of his existing buffs, but no dice. Okay, they shifted that buff around. However, you should note that they have actually improved his forward skill by making it so that it's now on a 14-second cooldown as opposed to a 17-second cooldown. So that's actually pretty impactful. This uniform for Ghost Rider also gives him the ability Panic, which increases basic damage received by enemies by 50%. So this is actually pretty good. Your Ghost Rider might just hit significantly harder than last time because of that Panic buff altogether. So interesting stuff here. I don't like the fact that the Ghost Rider uniform is losing the V-pad, but overall it looks pretty solid. And if nothing else, even if the damage is exactly the same, at least if you didn't purchase the old uniform for Ghost Rider, you'll be getting this one at a significantly cheaper price, especially if you get it during Black Friday or the anniversary. Moving on, we got Juggernaut, and Juggernaut is the one that I'm really interested to see if he's going to be useful, because for the most part we knew Ghost Rider was going to get something solid, or at the very least he was going to be as good as he currently is, which is very good, because he has the immortality artifact and all that stuff, right? Anyways, moving on to Juggernaut, let's see how his uniform actually compares to the one he had last time. So 30% HP, we get decreased damage received by reflect effects by 55%, which is a little bit higher than average, and then skill damage and bonus damage. So this is a change from what he had last time. As you can see, he had the HP buff, but it was not reflect protection, it was actually ignore defense. That was kind of gross because everyone pretty much runs max ignore defense, so that was a useless stat line. The reflect protection is very good, and it's all reflect, physical and energy, so that's huge. All right, let's go over here and take a look at his tier 2 passive. Tier 2 passive, we have the recovery staying exactly the same, and when his HP is below 40%, he gets 65-25, and he removes all debuffs. That's staying exactly the same. All right, let's go right here to the 4-star passive. We get ignore dodge added as a stat line, and then the rest of it is exactly the same. So we get stun and fracture, invincibility on the second skill, which is honestly interesting because we don't usually see invincibility on second skills, but he already had that from last time. We got a 3-second immunity. We got damage accumulation based on damage received. We got ignore iframe, healing, and unfortunately Juggernaut does not have penetration. Jesus Christ. So that's the second character out of the 3 that gets iframe ignore, At least in Juggernaut's case, he already had iframe ignore, so all they really had to do was stack on some penetration somewhere in his kit, and they decided that they're not going to do that. So he is kind of in the same situation as somebody like Hulkbuster, where he might be really tanky because of the extra HP and the healing and whatnot, and the damage reduction plus the debuff removal when his HP goes low, but it will have a tough time killing people, because even if he's ignoring their high frame, if they have damage immunity up, if they have invincibility up, which most characters will have some form of protection up like that, he won't be doing any damage, even though he can hit them when they're in their high frame. That is unfortunate. So this Juggernaut uniform might just be like a AC character, and that's about it. Next up, we got Miami Vice Lord Voodoo. Alright, so increasing basic damage dealt to super villains by 50%, decreasing damage received from super villains by 20%. This is useful. It looks like Voodoo is gonna become a pretty solid support for World Boss and ABX ABL. So I think people might actually tier 4 him just for the support ability. Besides that, the best thing this guy has in his kit is the V-pad. So Voodoo support, I think that is about it. Moving on, let's see Juggernauts. Oh gosh, Juggernauts tier 4, increasing all basic attacks by 55%, increasing basic damage dealt to enemies with 50% HP or lower by 60%. That's okay. And then it's the same thing really for Voodoo. Okay, whatever, man. I really like Sigurd, aka, if you know, you know. Black Knights tier 3. My daughter likes it too. But yeah, moving on, we got the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. getting an awakened skill, so they'll be, I guess, better for story mode. And then we got the new feature that allows you to purchase new backgrounds for 1 million gold for your lobby. Yeah, it's whatever. Let's take a look at these artifacts though. Let's see. I forgot that Voodoo already had an artifact. So increasing basic damage for 5 seconds, increasing basic damage by 5% for each instant of damage ignores up to 25%. This is a brand new artifact when HP below 50%, by the way, decreasing all damage received by 5%. Okay, so it's kind of like a type of accumulation. That's very interesting, but the cooldown time is disgusting. Okay, I don't like this at all. Holy shoot. 180 seconds. So this is basically once during the fight, fam. Like, I like the fact that we're seeing new types of artifact releases, because for the longest time it's just been a bunch of copy paste rehash. Like for example, 25% all attack, and then right here 15% all attack. Ooh, this is actually solid. 15% all attack and 15% all dodge. That's actually good. That's actually good. Crazy they give that to Mockingbird. This is something that they should have given to like Daredevil, but no, he got a shit artifact and freaking Mockingbird gets a good one. You made that make sense. Okay, ignore dodge and all attacks, whatever. We've seen that happen a bunch of times. Okay, they're upgrading the future pass. That's kind of good, honestly. Got a tier 4 ticket in here and a potential advancement ticket in here. There's a Ghost Rider icon and a Juggernaut icon. Damn, that actually looks so sick. I really like the Juggernaut one. Actually, all three look kind of cool. Then we got a brand new uniform collection, story mode improvements. So now you're going to be able to run all of your story modes in one shot, transitioning seamlessly from Dimensional Clash all the way to the future ends here with Thanos. Presumably, that none of your characters, well, not none, but presuming that all three of the characters that you're running don't die at any one point, or you don't run out of energy. So if those conditions are met, you'll be able to just set it up and just forget it and come back. That's actually pretty solid. As somebody who still runs rather story mode, I am here for it. They're also making it easier by reducing some of the immunities that characters have, like the 100% immunity, which even if they had that, you could still cut through it with penetration. And the reflect from heroes and villains, basically they just make it so that characters take more damage, and if your characters have iframe and stuff, then they should be fine. So that's actually a pretty good change. Moving on, we got an upgraded token shop for timeline battle, now giving you more tier 4 materials, and of course power of Demiurge and Godstone, which the more ways that they make it so you can get tier 4 materials, the more likely we are to get another upgrade after tier 4.5, which we currently have with the elite gear system. So expect something next year for sure, if not sooner. Moving on, we have a new GBR upgrade that allows you to get extra damage when you all press the co-op skills, which at this point in the game, 10 years later, there's still people who don't press the co-op button, so I don't even bother with it. But it's actually a pretty solid buff now to make it so that you do more damage. This is perfect for new players. Most of us vets, we beat this thing in under 45 seconds, even if you're carrying people, but it is what it is. It's interesting that they're making GBR even easier with this thing, but they're not making new GBRs altogether. Yeah, interesting stuff. Anyways, they've made it so that the battles are now faster for timeline and otherworld battle. That's cool. Now, one big new change that will be dropping with the update is this one right here, where the support list is actually going to be improved, and you'll be able to get more premium characters from dimension missions. And it's been a while since they've actually upgraded this list, so it's actually nice to see. Now, to be honest with you, it will take you a long time to get the character that you're seeking from this acquisition method, but just having this as an option is actually really good, because it means you don't have to spend money to get access to certain characters if you come to the game long after they've been released. Like for example, Black Knight might actually get added to this acquisition method, and he's only going to be free for about a week after this update goes live, right? So I think it's on what, the 26th that they said in the patch here. So from the 26th to like the 31st, actually probably a little bit longer, than like the 1st or 2nd of September, he's gonna be free or whatever. And then after that, he's gonna be locked behind a paywall, but he might actually pop up here, and that would actually be pretty good. But to be honest with you guys, most of the paywall characters that you get from the Get 30 biometrics are kind of trash, not gonna lie to you. Now lastly, many of us were hoping that they would fix Emma Frost by making her and Shadow Ball more impactful for PvP or PvE or something. However, the best they are willing to do for Emma Frost after we spend money to get access to the uniform is to fix the character model. That is the best they are willing to do. They believe that she is functioning at the exact level that they want her to. So take from this what you will. And this is why you only buy uniforms after you see reviews, and upgrade characters after you see reviews, so that you can save money. And these days, never, ever, ever buy a uniform or upgrade a character under the premise that the devs will buff them. Accept that they're gonna be as good or as bad as you see them when they get released. Anyways, we'll wrap it up here. Leave me your thoughts in the comments. I will catch you in the next one. Peace.